Hi, welcome to GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'm going to do a final summing up review on the Panasonic Lumix GH4 compared to the Olympus OMD E-M1. Now, I think these two cameras are in a similar category. I'm also going to throw in a bit of a curveball with regards to the GH3 as well. But I think roughly these cameras are in the same sort of semi-pro category, and both come as similar packages you can get here with weather sealed bodies, weather sealed lenses, and there's pros and cons to both of them. And I had that decision, and I've made that decision, and I bought the GH4. But I've spent some time now, a weekend, with the EM1. So I wanted to let you know if I think I've made the right decision, and I honestly, if I thought I'd made the wrong decision, I would admit it and say I've got no qualms about selling something and buying something else as well. So I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So controls wise, because I think when it comes to image quality, I can't see an awful lot in it. I think in photos, the OMD probably just about has it. In video, the GH4 nails it big time. So there's not a great deal there. I think really what this boils down to is usability, controls, functions, existing equipment you may or may not have. And from that point of view, I'm going to throw in also a curveball, which is in case you've already got something like this, and perhaps some lenses already, which is the OMD E-M5. So, main differences, first of all, are, well, one of the very first things you notice, and it's something that you do every time you use your camera, what's that? You turn it on. Now, the GH4 has a on-off switch here, which handily sits just above your thumb. So you pick the camera up and you switch it on. That's on with the thumb. No problem at all. And it reminds me, I mean, the Nikons and other Lumix cameras have switches in different positions, but quite often on the front here. And bottom line is, when I pick up a camera with one hand, I want to be able to turn it on. It's on, that's it. It's ready to go and shoot one-handed. I can then bring the other hand up. Haven't got to faff around with any switches or dials. Now, the Olympus seem to go out of their way to put the on-off switch in unusual positions. On the EM5, it's down here, which is not so bad because as you pick it up, you can flick it on and you're ready to go. But it's not ideal, but I sort of live with it with this, but it's not. It would have been better up here or here, but it's not horrific. The EM1, they've tried to go old school, and I sort of applaud them for doing it. I've seen this very similar lever to this on my old OM10. I can't remember what it did, but it was definitely there. But it's on the opposite side to where you pick the camera up. So as you pick the camera up to shoot, I've got to turn it on, you've got to flick the lever. It's not difficult, there's no drama. It's just that I can't pick the camera up and be ready to shoot one-handed. It's as simple as that. And to me, on my main #1 shooter, that is an issue. So that's a score for the GH4. If you want to shoot 4K video, there's only one answer. It's the GH4. Now, what else? The screen. Let's have a look at the screens on the back. Well, on the OMD you can shoot down and you can shoot like that. That's it. I can't turn it and look at myself like I am with the GH3. I can see the screen on the side there, and the same with the GH4. It's fully articulating. And one thing I found when using the GH4 for video, a really comfortable way of holding it was having it as I've got it there. So you're cradling it at sort of belly level. The LCD rests in the, sort of the edge of your wrist, and it tilts slightly towards you, perfect for viewing. and it just works a treat for video. Your controls are all nicely to hand, brilliant little setup for video. Whereas on this, you just can't do that. It's out of the back or flat or whatever, you know, it's, yeah, it is what it is, but I just found that a really nice feature on the GH4. Viewfinders on both of these. Now, once you've got over the issues that come with these, like these non-optical viewfinders, digital viewfinders, then both of these are no problems at all. I quite like them, but they do have issues with blacking out and a lag and a slightly delay when you put your eye up to them. But to be honest, they're both pretty much the same. They're both as good as you can get at the moment. But no problems. The E-M5, no issues with that at all. It's just these two are slightly bigger. Controls on the top, they're differently laid out. Some I like, some I don't like. One of the things I really like is this dial on the GH4, which means I can shoot in single frame, multiple frames, then I can go into bracketing, timer, and also it'll let you go into like the time-lapse function. Just from that one dial, you don't have to do anything else. And you can sort of set up what that does in the menus. Whereas on this, to do the same thing, I have to press a button, look at the screen, and then turn a wheel. So that's easier on this. The way the white balance, ISO, exposure compensation are laid out on the front of this is good, and it's better than on this, where you can do it with the dials and different things. I just think it's easier to have it there laid out, a bit like a Canon. The other thing I prefer, again, you've got another button here which is for autofocus. I like the fact that you've got an autofocus single, autofocus continuous, and a manual focus. We've got an actual lever on the back, a physical lever, so there's no going into menus. You don't need to look at the screen, which is quite nice, and I prefer that on the GH4. And again, on here you have to press a button, go into it, and it's got this funky mode dial so that it doubles the use of all your controls, which is fantastic. But you've A, got to remember what they all do. It does show you on the screen, but then you've got to look at the screen. And B, if you accidentally have got it in the wrong mode and you go to adjust your aperture, something else happens. Now, you can obviously not use it or whatever, but it's a good thing in some respects. In others, I'm not so sure. The GH4 is lighter, much lighter, noticeably, but more so than that, for me, and this is obviously my hand, the GH4, every time I pick it up, it's more comfortable. Yes, it's more plasticky and it doesn't look as nice, but it's just more comfortable. The grip is fatter. This is a bit narrow for me, and it just doesn't feel as comfortable when I instantly pick it up as the GH4. It's a much fatter grip, much nicer grip in my opinion. Prefer that one. Aesthetics and looks wise, you know, this is a work of art. I like the angular look. The dials all look beautifully made. You know, it just looks so much more money, so much nicer than this does, even the lens does. But at the end of the day, it's more about usage, isn't it? But then I've got that. So I've got a bit of best of both worlds, but I'll come to that in a minute. So there you go. Controls wise, the GH4 definitely wins overall. Oh, a point to note in video, and I know I'm gone from controls to video, just while I think of it. GH4, focus peaking, for manual, it's just in video, stills, everything, it's just built for video, isn't it? Focus peaking doesn't work in video. I don't know if that's something that I've not got right, or perhaps someone could tell me, but it doesn't seem to work in video, which is weird. I don't really understand it. There's no focus peaking on the E-M5 at all, so it's not an issue for that. But yeah, that was just a bit weird to me. What else? Video, obviously this is quite limited, whereas this has got just about everything you want. Mode dials both have the same push button control, which is nice, so you can lock it if you want or leave it unlocked like I do. Never lock it, which is a great feature. both you can get battery grips. I've used them both with battery grips. I prefer the EM1 with the battery grip and the GH4 without the battery grip, which is weird, I know, but it's just the battery grip does make the EM1 more comfortable. That's all I'll say. Whereas on the GH4, it's so comfortable without it, I just don't need it. What else? Lenses. Okay, so we've got the Panasonic lenses are stabilised, the body's not. Opposite, so you've got the stabilisation in the body, which is kick-ass by the way, but not in the lenses. So if you already have something like an EM5 and you've got a lot of the little Olympus prime lenses, then you're probably going to gravitate towards the EM1 because you're going to be able to use your prime lenses on your EM1 and they're going to be stabilised. Whereas me, if I want to put my prime lenses on my GH4, they're not stabilised. Personally, for me, it's not an issue because I've got what I think is the best of both worlds, and I've got the GH4 and then I've got the my prime lenses on the EM5 are stabilised. So I've sort of got the best of both worlds anyway, and obviously I can put my Panasonic lenses on my EM5 and they're stabilised as well, so you know that works for me quite well. But I know that some people will think I want the same for everything, so I want these lenses to do exactly the same on this, because then if I ever decide to sell this little camera, I've still got these image stabilised, blah de blah. So for some people I think that could be a deal breaker. For me, not so much. I tend to use the zoom lenses on here, and this was always the intention. A couple of zoom lenses on there, and the primes on the little one. I'm not intending to use this with any kind of zoom particularly. That was just the way it was designed. My plan is the 45mm 1.8, the 17mm 1.8, and then possibly in the future either the 60mm macro or the 75mm 1.8. So, I digress. So, my decision was to buy the GH4. Am I pleased about it? Absolutely. Would I like this? This would be my ideal setup. I'd have all three if I could afford it, but I can't. I prefer the design, the lightweight of the GH4, and I'm glad I bought it, and I definitely made the right decision, and I'm sticking with it. I love the look and design of the EM1. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. But I've gone for this to get that sort of kick of the design and the look and the oldie worldy. I've got the EM5, which is a much cheaper option, obviously, especially second hand, than the EM1. So there you go. I'm not going to go into too much more details. All of these are wonderful cameras. There is one little caveat, and I just want to throw a little curveball into the mix. If you're looking to buy a GH4 or an EM1, you can buy the GH3, which I've got here, which I'm videoing on now. You can buy that brand new, body only, for around £500. Which, if you're talking in dollars, it's about half the price of these. Now, you're getting pretty much everything that the GH4 has got, apart from a couple of video functions, the 4K video, a couple of other little tweaks. But you're getting probably 90% of the GH4 for half the price. So that may play in to someone who's thinking, oh yeah, I could buy that. Or why not get a GH3 and something like an OMD E-M5 and, you know, mix and match like I've done. But that's just an idea that I thought I'd throw in at the end. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. This has been GRVOTV. G's reviews, views and opinions. As I've said, any of these, you'd be happy with the quality of any of these cameras. Just thought I'd give you my opinions on all of them. So I'll see you soon. Bye.